Christmas has come and gone. No more of that freaking ornament, little snowman. Let's get real. Let's get real. So it's an unfortunate hour. Not necessarily a time which I would think, wow, I want to be lifting right now. But I fell under, let's just call it an interesting state of affairs in terms of my sleep schedule today slash yesterday. So, I mean, not even close to what I would call a circadian rhythm, if anything, even remotely near to something along those lines. So it's fucking 2. I woke up a little bit ago, but it felt like a nap. But whatever. So technically, this is actually the day after the day because it's 2 in the morning, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the fact that I'm going to go into to Anytime. Got an Anytime membership, so we get to check that out today. Uh, Planet Fitness slacking, man. Come on, 24-hour. Where's it at? You know, you got Monday down, cool. You got Tuesday down, I like it. Wednesday, good. Thursday, Friday, you hit me a little. You give me a gut shot. You close at 9. Yeah, 9. Not even 9:30. And you know what? I'm not mad. I'm just upset. Not mad. I'm just upset. So Anytime will pick up the slack for me. So that's another reason why I like having a lot of different gym memberships. I can just go at fucking crazy hours, you know? So if I've got, like, we've got a family Y membership. I love the Y. Sick ass gym. It was the first gym I've ever started lifting at, so it's got extra appeal for me personally. But sometimes the hours are just a little funky, right? And that's not anything on them. It's just kind of how they're doing their shit. So I gotta either A, be a responsible adult and be awake during normal hours of the day and asleep during normal hours of the night, which historically has not been an awesome move for me. At least not a move that I can maintain for a long period of time. Or bounce around, get a couple different memberships on gyms that are open on different hours of the day just so they can, like, fill out the whole clock, you know? It's like if this is the Y from here to here, you know, at 5 to 9, then some other ones will kind of just fill in the gaps. But not only do I just like them because it's more likely that I can get to a gym and not have to worry about, like, my day schedule, right? Like if we've got like some kind of day trip planned or just stuff. I mean, ideally you're gonna have a badass gym that you like that is 24-hour, you know, key card style. That's the best case scenario. But apart from the fact that, you know, the hours are gonna change a little bit, it's just nice. I like going to different gyms, different atmosphere, and this one actually has a pretty sweet array of equipment. I don't know why I've never gone in. Oh, actually, I do know why I haven't gone in there before. It's because I'm lazy. I like setting up a membership on my phone. So to actually have to go in there, it almost feels like a chore. But they got a ton of hammer strength rows, T-bar row. Honestly, there aren't that. I can't even think of a gym near me now that has a legit T-bar row. You know, chest supported, where you're actually taking the weight off. So this might be the move for back days from now on. You know, I'll have to go in there and actually take a closer look, but I would not be surprised. Though I'm not going to make use of any of that today because we've got legs. So hamstrings, perfectly primed, 100% ready to be thrashed, demolished, put to work. So I'm not 100% sure they even have a hamstring curl. So honestly, if I get in there and they don't, then I'm just gonna have to go to Planet Fitness. So this is kind of impromptu. But if they do, then that's really all I'm gonna do. You know, like I like RDLs. So RDLs do get thrown into the routine, but I love hamstring curls the most. One thing that I think I need to change with my hamstring training though is to do some slower reps. I think slower, real contraction focused reps will do me good hamstring stimulus wise, because uh, this might be total mumbo jumbo, but I feel like I just watched a whole video of a guy explaining how like your hamstrings are full of fast twitch muscle fibers. So if you want to hit some of those slower twitch whatever, you do some slower reps, which, you know, bro science whatever, it's at least a different way of training, you know, because I've been going kind of um, let's just say rapid with my reps on hamstring curls. So I'll go pretty heavy because I like doing a heavy set. If I'm strong, my hamstrings feel good. I want to load them with a lot of tension, but you know, the reps end up being real quick, just back and forth, without a real good hold and squeeze at the bottom. So I think I may have been missing out on some of that. So that may get added in as we progress. But again, we'll have to see, you know. But no matter what kind of body part you're hitting, I think it's good to have a pretty even mix of set styles. You know, I'd say we got pretty much two basic approaches, right? Do a really heavy set, you know, as many reps as you can do for like 8 to 12 repetitions. You know, that's usually what I like to start with. If I'm reasonably fresh, then I kind of like to start with those sort of sets. Not all the time, but just kind of looking back, that's kind of how I end up doing it. And then you've got kind of longer, more endurance-based squeezing sets. You know, I feel like a lot of science-based guys, and I'm not ripping on them. I know that's kind of a goof, making all sorts of science-based lifter hate TikToks, whatever. But a lot of them, they really like the idea of doing their reps very methodically, you know? Like in their mind, if they're doing squats, they want to do every squat nice and slow and really focus on it. I remember, I don't know the guy's name exactly, but he was pretty much saying like, you know, anybody could just load up a lot of weight and just, you know, muscle through the reps really quick. It takes a real lifter to go slow and feel the burn on every rep. Which, you know, I like the logic. That sounds pretty cool. So whenever I do light squeezing sets, that's kind of how it ends up being, you know? Like if I'm on leg extensions, I could do a set where I'm just throwing as much weight around as possible for, you know, 12 reps, 15 reps, whatever. Just real, like, you know, making crazy faces. If I could feel like I'm going to fly off the machine, just throwing it around. Or I could drop the weight in half, go much slower, hold it at the top, get a good extra squeeze, and then come back down and do the reps much more, you know, much more thoughtfully and with finesse. You know, and I'm not going to say that one of those is absolutely king over the other. So I like to an even mix. That's just kind of what makes the most sense in my mind. So I'm going a little bit of a roundabout way because I didn't know how long the drive was to get there. So I didn't want to run into just driving up there and parking. But one more thing I want to say about volume is I think there's not really one answer, you know. Like we'll see dudes 20 rep workouts, or no 20 set workouts, like 5 sets of chest, or 5 sets of bench, 5 sets of hammer strength press, 5 sets of pec flies, 5 sets of whatever, you know. And I've done, when I was a beginner, that's what I started with. For whatever reason, either I like watched a video or I read it somewhere, or maybe I just thought of it or like heard it said or whatever, and it just kind of stuck with me. But when I started lifting, somehow I got it locked into my brain, like, okay, for every body part, I want to hit it twice a week, which I do like. I stand behind that. Twice a week-ish is a pretty good frequency. But I also got in my mind that for every workout, for every body part, that I wanted to do 5 exercises and 5 sets each. So for me, a chest day was, you know, 5 sets of flat bench, 5 sets of incline bench, 5 sets of dumbbell press, 5 sets of pec flies, 5 sets of machine press or something like that, something along those lines. Even back then, I was kind of arbitrary with the exercise selection. Like I would just kind of pick an order which I thought felt good. Like triceps would be like, okay, I want to start with the straight bar, or I want to start with a rope or whatever. But somehow I got that volume of 25 sets per week in my mind. And even though I think that was definitely overkill, I was still doing enough, let's just call it stimulatory work to, make gains. Now, of course, I was making use of newbie gains at the time because I hadn't really done any legit weight training. When it comes to what I started with, build wise, I was always kind of just a lean dude. Like I did gymnastics for a while in early high school. I was doing diving, so I was like 160 with abs. That was kind of my starting point. But with that amount of volume, I still made gains. And then over time, I lowered it to like 11 or 12 or something like that. But what I'm trying to get at is like, there are people who are really on the far edge of, certain topics of discussion, certain opinions about training. Because the shit isn't 100% verified, optimized, AI proven, whatever. You're not going to open ChatGPT and type in, what's the best workout split for a 160-pound so-and-so at this, blah, blah, blah. It can't give you an answer, because the shit isn't, it's a science, of course, but, it's like what cooking is to baking, right? There's some leeway. So rather than be so focused on like, okay, Mike Menser says to only do 1 day a week. He says to do 2 sets, maximum intensity per week. And that's enough, So that's one end. Absolutely, I think that's too far, for sure. Like, you're not going to catch me doing that unless I come to a crazy mental awakening or something. But, so that's one end. The low volume, whatever, dudes. And then, I don't know. A lot of bigger folks over the course of time have always kind of hyped up higher volume, and I can understand the logic of either side. If if you've got some charisma, you can make anything sound good, right? So when it comes to the lower volume guys, the logic is, okay, I want to go into the gym, and as quickly and efficiently as possible, I want to hit whatever muscle I'm hitting and then leave. So if I'm doing chest, I want to do 3 sets of crazy incline bench as heavy as I can go, have somebody spot me on some partials, and then that's enough. I'm going home, I'm resting, And that makes sense. I think you could follow that logic, right? You want to do just enough damage to fully stimulate growth, and then no more. But then, when it comes to like higher volume days, like I see the appeal of doing not fluff work per se, but maybe more so kind of, volume work, right? Like if I were to do a bicep workout where maybe I do it a little bit more like my style. I do a crazy heavy set of alternating standing dumbbell curls. I'm talking like getting up to 60s, 70s, whatever. As heavy as you can go for like 12 and not be able to do another one. Maybe 3 sets of that. Maybe 2 sets of concentration curls, again, pretty heavy. And then maybe a set or 2 of like preachers at the end. And every set to failure, right? Every set to the point where you're either doing just a couple of partials and you really can't get a complete rep, or with something like the alternating dumbbell curl standing, you can hit failure. You really do reach a point where you just physically can't do another curl. So that's how I like it, right? I want all my sets to be to failure. Even with partials, it just makes sense to me. Like, I'm kind of in a battle. In each set, I don't really want to leave anything on the table. But I can still see the value of maybe doing like, not a marathon per se, but rather than going to like absolute failure, sitting in front of the dumbbell curls or maybe like the easy bars and doing, a couple of sets of 10 and just really getting a good squeeze on every set. Like 10 good reps, not to total failure, and then just putting them down. Wait a little bit, then do it again, right? Because in either case, you're still adding workload to whatever muscle you're targeting. But I feel like when you do a little bit more volume work, where every set isn't a failure, I don't know, it just maybe takes a little longer. But even if I did my workouts like that, like even if this leg day looks like that, like, just 10 sets of hamstring curls where each set isn't to like total failure, but it's like 10 really good reps. I'm really squeezing, really getting a good burn. I know I'm doing work. I would still get a really good hamstring pump, and I'd probably be satisfied with it. So I'm not trying to tell you to start doing really heavy sets to failure for every set. And I'm not saying that you should do sets not to failure for every set either. But I'm really just trying to even the playing field and sort of highlight the idea. I mean, this is kind of what I stand behind for sure, that you can do all sorts of shit. And as long as you go hard, it's going to give you results. You're a very complex and versatile machine, right? Over the course of friggin' bazillions of years, I guess I'm not really catering towards the, towards my highly religious viewers, but over the course of bazillions of years of evolution, I don't think it's gonna destroy your body to do 5 sets of bench to failure. I don't really think that's gonna make your chest explode alien style, right? So whatever you want to do, reps, styles, as long as you can feel it and you're doing legit work. And I will add, probably hit everything about twice a week. I do like that. I do stand behind that pretty strongly. As long as you're hitting all those factors, you're good. And you don't need to know everything right away. I guess I feel like a lot of the time I act as if I'm talking to somebody who's never lifted before, but this still applies to intermediate lifters. This applies to myself too. I'm kind of just speaking. I'm kind of just talking to myself out loud, right? But you're not maxed out in terms of your training. I don't think anyone ever is. Right? You've always got more shit that you could change up, and it'll just feel better for you. So this was a long pre-workout chat. Let's just get started. Let's get in there. Starting movement, hamstring curls of some variety, and fuck. I guess if the next clip is in Planet Fitness, then they didn't have a hamstring curl. But I'm like 99.1% sure they do. But let's find out. All right, so this should actually be a familiar sight. This is the hamstring curl that I'm always sitting on at the gym when I'm at school. If you've been watching these long enough, you kind of recognize it. But when it comes to laying curls, I've got a bit of leeway. I like a lot of them. Like, it's kind of rare that I sit on a laying hamstring curl and say, oh, I don't really love how that feels. But with seated hamstring curls, I'm much more picky. And whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, whatever, this one is the one I like. So I've sat here for a little while, gone 100 for a few reps, 150, 200, two something, now the whole stack. And rather than just do a set, real, just fucking quick, brutish, whatever, I'm going to be kind of methodical with this one. So I want to come down, hold it for a second, kind of a slow release. Now, when I say that, and then sometimes I end up doing kind of quick reps, I'm trying to go slower in my mind. That's what I'm really thinking. But no, let's get serious for real. Okay. That might be pushing it weight-wise, but that felt really good. Let's just repeat that a couple of times. Oh. Okay. Let's make these next couple of sets let's make these sets a little bit quicker. So with us, with those last three, I mean, you saw for the first few, I was really trying to hold it for a moment, which I like. I do like the feeling of. But for the next one, for these, if I can lose my mind right now, for these next ones, I'm going to be a bit quicker. So instead of sitting here with so-and-so amount of weight, hold for a second, back down, hold for a second. I just want to get right into it and throw the weight around, because I don't feel like that's all I'm doing. I'm not just throwing the weight around and I'm like, oh, this is cool to throw this much weight around. I get a serious amount of fatigue and burn from doing it like that, you know? So if I really, for whatever reason, loved the feeling of slow, controlled reps, that's all I would do. But I like the feeling of kind of a more brutish set like these next ones. Okay. Okay. So that looks very different than those first three. But I love the feeling of it. I will say, definitely be careful. Your hamstrings, they're not, well, it's not like any of your friggin' tendons are, oh, whatever. You can pull your shit. So don't just try to jump into crazy hamstring curl weight. Ease into it. I've gone through periods of time where I didn't do really heavy hamstring curls, and then I tried to go really heavy kind of out of nowhere, and I've pulled, it always ends up being my right one a pretty decent number of times. Never anything serious, not hospital level, of course, but enough where I'm like, oh fuck, no more hamstrings on that day or the next. But I think 2 more here, and I might just be satisfied with that. We'll see how it feels, of course. Okay. One more. Whew. I'm not saying it's absolutely necessary, but if pre-set, you really get in the zone, you really kind of get fired up by whatever means necessary. Music, just thoughts, having somebody yell at you, you're going to have a better set. Like, I don't think I'd be able to go as hard. Or, well, maybe I could. It probably wouldn't be as easy or enjoyable if I just calmly sat down and started doing my reps. You know, like, you don't have to make crazy faces and noises. If I was trying, I could kind of just be relatively calm. But, I don't know, I just like it. One more. Holy shit, dude. This is a seriously good hamstring pump. I might have to just come here for legs too, because this is the best hamstring curl within my, within a pretty serious radius for me. Okay. 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 Hamstrings complete. It only took like 25 minutes. I was taking a little bit of extra long rest periods in between too. But before we move on to quads, I don't understand the hate, man. I love the partials. You know, if I were to just end that set until I couldn't really get to, I don't know, let's just say reasonably bent legs. Obviously in the first few when I'm strong, I can kind of bottom it out. But let's say normal reps, I can get my legs I can get my shins vertical. If I were to just stop the rep or stop the set by the time I couldn't get there anymore and just rack it, I mean, look, it's like I was saying in the car. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat of, growing muscle. But I know for a fact I'm going to get a better pump doing it my way. And maybe that's just for me, and I'm just saying that's how I like it. So, try the shit out for yourself. Quads, I think I'm going to have to go light on just because the right one still feels a little funky. They'll still be good sets, of course, but it's going to have to be light squeezing instead of, fucking nuts. Throw the whole stack around for failure. But let's get over there. I'm kind of, it's not that I'm lucky. Obviously, all the leg machines are going to be the same place. But I just get to move one machine over, and that's pretty much the whole workout. I got no problem with that. Okay, so this is not going to be nuts. Honestly, I think I might just record one. I'm going to sit here for a while, probably I may even up the volume because the sets aren't going to be so intense. But this is not necessarily what I would recommend for a quad day, of course. Usually I want to do some heavy pressing, some sissy squat stuff, maybe some leg extensions supersetted into some kind of pressing. But I think something mid-quad-ish, I kind of pulled a little bit. I think it was either from just going too heavy on single leg extensions, or really I think that's probably it. I was, whenever I feel strong, I always get a little bit ambitious weight-wise when I do the single legs. But I'm going to sit here for a while. Just I'm going to squeeze hard. But the point of this isn't necessarily absolute insane sets. It's more 15 rep, really good squeeze and burn. Do the other leg, wait a little bit, and then do it again. So I think I'll just get the one, and then we can cut to the quad pump. Even though it's going to be a lighter quad day, though, my quads are still going to be, pumped-wise, you might not even notice a difference between this and my normal crazy, really heavy leg days. So that kind of, I feel like when I talk about I want to get a pump, and then that's kind of my cue to end the lift. There's more to it than that. I'm not just trying to get pumped up. Otherwise, I would sit here with lightweight, just bust out 15 reps with a really good squeeze, wait a few minutes and do it again. I could get a really good pump that way, but it's not going to really destroy whatever muscle I'm targeting. So my cue for when I'm around done with a lift is I know I did some really hard sets. I feel a really good amount of fatigue, and of course I'm pumped at the end too. But it's almost like the pump is more so just a grading scale of how well you prepared for the lift. If I'm dehydrated, shitty pump. If I'm not very well rested, probably a little bit of a scrappy pump. So it's almost just a indicator of how responsible you were outside of the gym, and not necessarily how good you were in the gym. Of course, if you have a good lift, you're going to get a pump regardless, though. So, I'll just show the one and then cut to the pump. Cut to the pose down. And I'm gonna increase weight too. This is the first one. Oh, fuck. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna make myself comfortable. Go up and weight a little more, and then just get some squeezing sets in like that. So fast forward 20, 25 minutes, and I should be hobble around with quads more inflated than, well, what gets inflated? Fucking balloon. All right, so I ended up sitting there for like 6 sets. Not the gnarliest, but good burn on every one of them. And I'm relatively certain there's a nice little pump to be unveiled underneath of these freaking pants. So I'll get a few comments. Do I wash these pants before I wear them again? Because I'm wearing these ones all the time. Plus, I kind of have a little bit of a circulation. Are you fucking nuts? Of course I washed my pants, Jesus. Oh. Yeah, definitely not my craziest quad pump, but I'm still satisfied with this as a leg day in its entirety. And actually, honestly, this is a pretty fucking good quad pump. Ugh. Hamstrings definitely stole the show, though. That's freaking for sure. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. See, now that's a freaking. Apart from it being a booty shot, yeah. This line right here, that is sick. I'm sure the next cut, the quads will get nice and freaky. Honestly, I didn't really get that lean on my last one. Like I was leaner, but not even close to diced or anything like that. I think this next one, I might make a bit of an effort to get a bit more trim instead of just like a little bit of a reverse rebound, so I can build my appetite back up and take a little bit of body fat off before I do another bulk. Yeah, I definitely want to get nice and freaky, because your quads and your triceps, chest too, I mean, everything gets nuts, but there's an extra level of coolness to your quads when they get really pumped up. And, well, when you get really big, not even, when you get pretty big, not even, I'm not talking freak level, I'm talking like, 180, 190 lean. By then, your quads should have developed enough that not only will you have good separation of all the heads, teardrop, this shit over here, whatever's right in the middle. I don't know the names. I don't really care that. I don't care about them that much, at least to learn them. But what will happen is you'll develop these striations sideways along the length of your quad. So fast forward a couple of months, if I'm, considerably leaner than the end of the last bulk, if I hit a fucking, quad flex or a stomp, whatever, there should be some freakiness going on. I got a hint of it 2 cuts ago, because 2 diets ago, I got reasonably lean, leaner than I was in this last one, and I could see it poking out. But after this one, there should be some cool detail. But let's get in the car and get out of here. Let's stop loitering around this fucking empty gym. All right, I am officially fucking sleepy. Oh my goodness. So let's I think I want to kind of talk about motivation. I want to bring up some motivation. So this may well, it'll apply to everybody. I don't know. When I think about some shit I used to do when I was younger, or sports or whatever, like I was talking about on the way here, the gymnastics, or the diving, like, well, let's just say the gymnastics. I was kind of younger. I was much, I wasn't so developed mentally. Honestly, eesh, looking back, what a fucking foolish thing to even think. But I was okay at it. I could do some flips and shit. I was all right. But I didn't want it. I really did not want it. We had one older dude. In our group, and his ass wanted it. He didn't need his parents to like nag him about going hard. He didn't need anybody to push him. He wanted to improve. And guess what, man? He's going to Junior Olympics. Dude, college all 4 years, I think. I don't know. He was legit. He was high level. And for something like that, I mean, for any kind of sport, it takes a lot of freaking internal determination, And when I think back, when I was doing that shit, I would literally think to myself, I wish I could just wake up and be good. Like, I remember thinking this for sure. I wish I could just wake up and I'd be able to do this and this. Ugh. Fucking gross. That's nuts. That's not how this shit works. I guess maybe I didn't have, or I didn't watch enough motivational, whatever. I was a kid. I was like 13, 15, whatever. But when it comes to whatever extracurricular you got going on, or whichever one you had going on when you were younger, there's still a pretty solid chunk of older dudes or older folk in this demographic. I mean, you really kind of have to just want it yourself, So applying that to, let's just say, lifting, because obviously that's all I talk about. You're not going to be able to get very far if your motivation is, okay, I want to look good for so and so. I want to prove so and so wrong. I want to, I don't know. I just don't. Maybe you can. That's not really what I got into it for. I kind of just liked it. I had a lot of time since I stopped doing gymnastics. And I'm like, this is sick. I'm gonna keep doing this. And that turned into doing that every day pretty much for the next like 5-ish years up to now. Or 5.5. I don't know, whatever. I kind of just hit the jackpot. I sort of felt like I was in my element, bodybuilding and lifting wise. But I don't. Maybe you're different, and that's a perfectly good motivator for you. But it doesn't make sense to me, Like, just the idea of doing anything or putting a lot of effort into just changing yourself, like reshaping whatever you do and whatever you're into to match somebody else's approval. I don't know, man. That's just so silly, right? You're letting them control your fucking life in that sense. It's like you should be the captain of your own ship, and you should steer it the best way you see fit. To do things just out of, I don't even know what I'd call it. Maybe insecurity, maybe whatever. I don't find it to be a really long-lasting source of motivation, and it's just not even conducive to longevity either. Because what happens if you get your quote-unquote goal? Like, I want to bench 225 so I can show off to so-and-so. What happens when you get it? Where do you go now? Your hypothetical motivation or whatever was driving you is gone. You did it, and honestly, it's probably not going to feel that good, right? It's I don't know, man. It's just not how I would want to go about it. And the same thing in terms of not doing anything for anybody else's approval or anything like that. It kind of applies to what you think about too. If somebody's just kind of upset you got some kind of beef, some kind of anything. And I'm not talking social media. I'm talking like you're pissed off at your dad or some shit, stuff like that. Just what do you get? Tell me in all honesty what you get out of spending like any amount of time like hemming and hawing, like, God damn it, that motherfucker. You're just tiring yourself out, man. Even if you're not, even if you're actually like, sitting still, nobody could tell that in your mind you're fucking totally losing your shit. You're just you're just wasting energy, dude. Come on, it's no fun, right? Like, just, I don't want to say get over it. This can apply to anything. This can apply to all sorts of shit going on, whatever. Anything that causes you any serious emotional discourse, let's say. To an extent, you kind of have to just, I don't know, accept it, deal with it. Fuck. We're definitely getting kind of rambly here, but I think what I'm really trying to say, because it's not like I practice this, I'm just going off the cuff, but try to take control of your own mind. Don't let just because some kind of thought arises, it doesn't mean that you have to put any value into it. If you think about some kind of anything that fucking upsets you, girl problem, dude like fucked with you or something, I don't know, whatever, anything that could really get you going, get you riled up, just it's easy to say. It's very easy for me to just sit here and say, don't get so worked up about it. But if you can kind of get to a point where you can look at yourself from the third person and be like, what the fuck am I freaking out about for? What am I doing? Who cares? Just kind of move on like that. I mean, I think you're getting close to a pretty good state of mind and just a pretty good approach to, I don't know, the world, right? If any kind of little thing that might kind of itch you the wrong way gets you fucking ticked off, then you're just kind of at the mercy of whatever is around you. Have you zero respect in a way? No, that's not the right word. What am I thinking? You get the idea, right? Let's just let shit wash over you. Don't get too upset. I think a really good or maybe an easier way for me to describe this is like if you're in the car and you're starting to lose it. Somebody totally cut you off, somebody did some kind of something to you, and now you're fucking pissed. Shit. If you can catch yourself like that, and everybody will have this moment, if somebody like almost clips you on the highway, right, that'll get you going for sure. They're about to fucking spin you into the ditch. The fuck, man? If you notice something like that, and you can third person reflect and say, okay, well, it's fine now, you're good, right? Be chill like that. You're gonna be better off. I'm not really sure what kind of. Oh yeah, no, we were talking about discipline, motivation. It's whatever. So, as best as you can, whether or not you even care to think about this, whatever, try to do things purely for the sake of your own wholesome satisfaction. And by that I mean do shit that makes you feel good, but is actually, let's just say, progressive. And I'm not talking about the insurance. Like, that you're gonna feel good if you clean your room. You're gonna feel good if maybe you clear all the shit out of your car, or if you do your work, or if you fucking do so and so. You do your cardio. You might not be able to relate to that one, but whatever, right? That there's some shit which is not only good for you, but also just makes you feel good, right? The only problem with that is there's a little bit of a discomfort in doing it. And maybe not even doing it, but just trying to like convince yourself to do it. Like once you kind of get in the groove of doing that sort of stuff, I think the better, right? Because if you just don't have any mental control and you just kind of chase after whatever dopamine spike is immediately available to you, not only is that not going to be conducive with gains, but it's just going to be conducive with being a chump, man. I'm sure it'd probably be pretty fun, and it would get my dopamine receptors firing if I just sat down and played Fortnite all day and like watched movies. I think my mind would like that, but You're more than just your lizard brain, which reacts to dopamine and like, you know, uh, feel good hormones like that. You know, you're a dude. You got an ego, so you gotta do shit that kind of feeds that. We're doing a whole loop-de-loop of random. What's it called when you just there we go. Yeah, that was a big ass loop of stream of consciousness. So if you took anything out of it, honestly, I kind of doubt you did. I'm kind of losing it. Maybe it's because it's so late and I need some sleep. But whatever. No more of this random mumbo jumbo mental acuity, whatever. Good pump. Had a lot of food today. Did my cardio. And now I get to go home and go to bed. Is there anything else more important? I mean, you tell me. You might have to tell me because I can't think of anything. So I am out. I am out of here. I'll see you next time for chest. And I might throw shoulders in. I think that I might also throw in shoulders. To be determined. But I will see you next time.